All right, Jacob, you're up. Carthage College.
So for Carthage, a little bit about us. Our men's and women's teams practice separately. Both teams are part of the CCIW conference, which is actually the same conference as Augustana. We are a Division III school, and most our competitions take place either in Illinois, Wisconsin, or Michigan. We practice 6 days a week. We do doubles on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The morning practices are weight practices. The rest of our practices are all swimming. Training trip wise, we take a training trip every year. This past year we went to San Antonio, and I believe next year we're going to somewhere in California. And every 4 years they do a trip to Puerto Rico. So that's pretty neat. And it's kind of just a great experience overall. We have a fairly large team. We have 27 guys on our team and 39 women. So we have a lot of people to train with and have fun with.
Super. Sounds awesome. All right, let's go to, how about Maddie Taylor on the spot? You ready?
All right, I'm ready. So our team is combined, so we practice boys and girls together.
Maddie, remind everybody where you're from.
I go to Stevens Point. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's all right.
And we are also a Division III school, and our conference that we are in is the WIAC. So we swim against all the other UW schools, but we also have a few extra meets that we add against schools in Illinois and Michigan and Minnesota. We have dry land practices Monday and Wednesday mornings, and then at evening we always have swimming, and then on Saturdays we have a dry land practice and then a swim practice right after that as well.
Super.
Yes, and our team is also very big. We have like 80 to 90 people on our team.
What? Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, we're really big.
Sounds fun.
Very fun, yes.
Awesome. Hey, let's go to Lydia, Savannah College of Art and Design.
Yes. So SCAD is not like a Division 1, 2, or 3. It's actually NAIA, and we compete against NAIA, but then we also compete against Division 2, 3, and a couple Division 1 schools. But then our nationals is separate, and it's just the NAIA teams. And SCAD is actually, the girls have been number 1 for the last 3 years, and the guys have been number 2 for the last probably like 5. So.
And you're talking in the nation, number 1 in the nation.
For NAIA.
For
yes.
NAIA, yep.
Yes.
Yep, it's just another division, but still.
Yeah.
Pretty
and
cool.
It's very cool. I love NAIA. And then, so the men and the women's team do train together, but every once in a while, our night practices, we would split up, and like a coach would train the men's team and a coach would train the women's team.
Did you like that?
I liked it a lot. Cause we just need different stuff. So I like that the coaches like understood that and
cool.
did that for us. And our training, we did weights 3 times a week, doubles 3 times a week, and then the other days were just swimming, and then Sunday we had off. Training trip, we went on training trip every year. Our normal location is Pompano Beach, Florida, and then every 4 years they try to do like a unique one. So I went to Puerto Rico my freshman year, and then next year they'll go somewhere else. They're trying to get New Zealand or Australia, so we'll see what happens for them. But
cool. As an alum, you get to donate back to the team to pay for that trip. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay.
Oh, and the people are amazing, because SCAD is an art school. So there's so much passion for like swimming and art and design. So it's crazy.
Okay. Hey, Lydia, a chat just came in. Vince just asked, what's the major difference between NCAA and NAIA? I have a somewhat of an answer if you don't.
Yes, you go ahead and answer that.
Vince and everybody that's wonders about this. The NCAA it's an association, like a conference, if you will. It's they put together all the rules. Like the NFL is the National Football League, and then you also have the Indoor Football League and all these other things. So the NAIA is typically, it's just another division. The rules are completely different. They adhere to their own standards. They're not necessarily as strict on recruiting as what NCAA is. It's just a different association of colleges. They tend to be a little bit more on the smaller side of schools and not so big. Okay,
Mhm.
I hope that helped a little bit, Vince, but that's a very good question. All right, let me call on Kelsey next, UW Madison, and your experience there.
So I'm part of the UW Madison club swim team. So the whole point of club is it's all voluntary and it's all based on what you want to do and what you want to get out of your time on the team. So it's no tryouts. You just come on. If you can swim, just freestyle, just backstroke, all 4 strokes, whatever, you can join. So we have kids or students who are from, say, swimming the 100 freestyle and that's it, to guys who could be on like a lower D1 team that wanted to pursue other things in college. They want to give their full time to just like a varsity swim team. So we train anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a week and like usually 3 to 4 2-hour practices in the evenings. And we also have voluntary lifting with some ATs from the rec sports and kind of club intramural association for UW. We can get weight training. We get 6 to 8 hours a week of training in the pool, in the NAT, so the big pool at UW. And for traveling, we typically have about 1 meet a month anywhere in the Midwest. So I've been to Northwestern, Notre Dame, Minnesota, Ohio State, a bunch of really awesome Big Ten pools, and had a great time with it. Guys and girls are combined in the same practice, and you can kind of select the intensity that you want in your practice and your training. You can select like, oh, I want like 1,000 yards, then I'm good. Or if you want like 3,000 or more, you can go in the upper lanes and kind of pick your own workout. And it's all student run. I know some programs out there also have coaches on staff, so it kind of depends on which programs at your university. We just started a training trip this year. We went to Florida, down in Miami this year, and I think next year they want to go back. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of great traveling, all based on your own time you can give, all voluntary, and I've met a lot of great people on the team.
So I just want to make sure that everybody is clear that, so Kelsey's part of the UW club team, and Kelsey's here because she is swimming in college for really the fun of it, right? A lot of colleges, if they don't have a varsity program, will have a club team. Or if you're at a big time school like a UW Madison or some of these other big time D1 schools, you can still you can still be a swimmer at the school on the club team. And for those of you kids, again, swimming in college, no matter whether it's for varsity or for club, is fun. You're having a good time, right, Kelsey?
Oh, I love it. I so many great people, and yeah, we have team socials and also meets and all the traveling to meets and staying in hotels, and yeah, everything is so awesome.
You're getting a collegiate experience.
It's definitely competitive. I definitely have met a lot of great swimmers and great programs out there who have their own coaching staff, so they run like a varsity program. It's just more open to more swimmers of more abilities than just a varsity D1, Big Ten, whatever program.
Super. Again, I just want to make that clear to everybody out there. All right, last but not least, Tyler. Tell us about
Monmouth College, we're a D3 program. Both our guys and girls team practice together, and our practice schedule weekly is basically every day in the afternoon, and then depending like on your stroke, so if you do distance or sprint or whatever, that determines when you'll practice in the morning, because we have different groups to meet like in the morning on the day-to-day. And then we take a training trip every year to Florida and West Palm Beach, I think. And then what else?
Dry land training trip, men's and women's team is combined, right?
Yeah, combined dry land, we usually lift 2 times mandatory, and then 1 time on the weekend is optional for the team.
Cool. Super. All right, let's keep this rolling. I was thinking, again, when I was swimming in the late 80s and early 90s, it's nothing like what you kids are going through now. But now that I'm 50, if I have this question a lot, if I knew then what I know now, what would I do differently? So again, some of you are graduating this year. Some of you are just starting your collegiate career. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you were in 8th grade, high school, what would you tell your younger self, either about the rest of your high school career, about the college selection, recruiting process, that sort of stuff? So let's, really get out the thinking head here. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself, rightly or wrongly? And let's start with Jacob on this one. Did we lose Jacob?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, so regarding the rest of high school, and this kind of just applies to life in general. Enjoy the time while you have it, whether you like high school or not. Understand that you're not going to get that time back. College is very different than high school is. And this kind of just applies to everything in your life. Kind of treat every day like it's your last, and just enjoy it and take it for what it is. Regarding the selection and recruitment process, so if I could look back and do some things differently, definitely make sure you're doing as many recruitment trips as you want to for teams that you're interested in. It really gives you a good idea of kind of what that team is like and their cohesiveness, and the way they are on recruitment trips is really how they are every day. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. And with the college selection process, I get one of the things that I did that I found kind of useful is making a list of requirements for myself. So like it had to be within a certain distance of home. It had to have certain majors. It had to have a swim program I could swim on. So definitely to help narrow down your college search, I suggest kind of making a kind of list and then going through schools and seeing which schools meet those requirements.
That's a great suggestion. When I do give recruiting talks, I call it the equation. Everybody's equation is going to be different. For some, distance away from home or academics, everybody's equation is going to be different. You need to define it. But and Jacob, what you said also about living each day as as if it's your last, it's very poignant today with this whole quarantine thing that we're dealing with. So excellent suggestions. Let's call on Connor. I want to make sure he's awake. Connor, what do you got for me, buddy? You have to unmute. You're unmuted. Well, Maddie, while Connor's figuring it out, what suggestions would you have?
Did you ask me or my internet?
Is
Go
Connor
ahead.
gonna go?
Yeah.
Okay. My biggest thing in high school, I never lifted. I was kind of a lazy swimmer. And so when
No.
I got to college, the first few weeks, the lifting is kind of the hardest part. And that's such a big part in swimming. So at least not maybe freshman year, but like get into the motion of things, understand like lifting is going to be a big part. So if you can start doing that in high school, that's just going to give you a step ahead from other swimmers going into colleges if you already have lifting experience personally. Also, I think it's very important that when you go on your recruiting trips and you talk to the coaches, make sure you're asking what their training is like, because if you're gonna be there for 4 years, you want to make sure their training style matches you as a swimmer. And so when I found Stephen's Point, I loved the way they set up their training and how everything worked. So that was something I thought was I wish I would have known back in my days.
Super. All right, Connor, looks like Connor's internet dropped off. Lydia, how about you?
Let's see. So as like life advice and what I would tell myself is I would say just like do everything you can, like be active and like just participate in as much as you can kind of a thing, because you're not going to get that time back. Like I'm a senior this year and like looking back, like I feel like not like I could have done more, but I don't know, just like experience like the fun aspects of college and swimming, and also in high school. Like, I would say don't not do something and use swimming as like an excuse for it, sort of a thing. I don't know. Do as much as you can. But
Good.
as college recruiting, know what you want. Know if you want a traditional or an urban campus. Like Jacob said, like, make a list of what you want and narrow down your schools, and that'll definitely help you out. And also, like, understand where you want to fit in on the team. Like, if you go to a D1 school, will you participate? Will you be making points for that team? Do you want to be making points for that team? Like, sort of that kind of a thing. Because I wanted to be part of a team like I knew that I could fully contribute to. So that's a reason why I picked my school. Yeah, that's about it. And like Maddie said, like, weight training, it is a big thing in college. So make sure you're doing that. And you don't need to go like full out, all intense, but maybe know the motions.
All right, Connor, are you there now?
Yep, my internet's good now.
All right, super.
So I guess my advice would be is just visit and look into as many schools as you can, because there's just such a variety. When you meet with other coaches, just make sure like you ask them like what's their training like, because if it doesn't fit your kind of style, like that could be pretty bad for you. Like I remember from when I was doing all these visits and stuff, there were some pretty intense coaches out there. But yeah, like a lot of the others have said, just make sure you fit into where you want to go. Like that's pretty important. And everything I can think of has been covered so far.
Thanks, Connor. All right, Gabby Ainsworth, I know you have a lot to add to this one.
I have a whole list.
I knew you would.
Okay, so going off of like high school and into college, you're gonna find that you're on a roller coaster with your performance. You know, there's gonna be like better years, and there's gonna be years where you're just having a rough time. And the most important thing to remember during that is that your hard work will pay off. It always does, just maybe not in the way you thought it would. And so, like, I know it's so easy to just put your head in the water and like go through the motions, either in high school or college. But if you like think about what you're doing and you give it your all, like it will be worth it. I promise. So I put down that, but then also I wanted to mention that like, don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think that that's something that maybe a lot of us do. I don't know, but there's so many different pressures that come with high school and college, whether that's like academics, relationships, being far away from family. You're learning so much about yourself, and it can be a high stress time. And so let swimming be that like de-stressor for you. Don't make it a stressor. Just use it as a time to, you know, like you said, like enjoy time with friends and push yourself, you know, have that that exercise and that energy burst, but don't let it become a stressor, because I definitely did. And I would dread going to swimming, but by the end of the year, I was like, this is silly. Like, this is my passion. I shouldn't dread it. Like, I should absolutely love going. So try to separate that. Don't let it be a stressor. And then lastly, I wanted to say, because I don't want to give you everything. Everyone had great advice for recruiting. That's basically what I had. Going off of Lydia's, I think it's really helpful. Like if you go online, you can look at records, you can look at like their top times, kind of see where your times fit in a school, because you know, you can decide like, am I going to be the best at this school, or am I going to have great competition, or am I going to be like struggling, you know, see where you fit in, because it kind of determines, you know, yeah, where you fit in on the team, and like, that's important. And then lastly, let's see, oh, values. Okay, so remember when you choose a school, you are, you're picking a place to be for 4 years, possibly longer if you do grad school. You want to surround yourself with people who have similar ideals and values as you. I think that this is really important to mention because, if you find a team who, is dedicated and hardworking and has the same values as you with swimming, they're going to push you so much more than a team that just wants to, I don't know, not do well, which I don't know if they exist, but you want the right people to be around you. So keep that in mind when you're going on a recruiting visit. Take a look at the team and how they interact with you. And don't be afraid to ask questions. So.
Gabby, you make me proud. I remember your college selection process and all those ups and downs that you had, kiddo, and you make me proud every time I talk to you.
Thank you.
Kelsey, I'm gonna call on Tyler next, but I still think that what Kelsey has to say is going to be every bit as germane to this discussion as everybody here. Tyler, what do you have to add to the conversation?
Okay, so for looking back at high school, I would say the thing I would tell myself is staying in shape in the off season, whether that be like swimming, lifting, or like running. I just feel like that would have been more beneficial to me because I didn't really do anything in the off season in high school. But now that I'm in college, I try to stay in shape when I'm not like in swim season. I feel like that's like helped me like a lot more. And then in the college selection, just everybody's really said everything, but like just finding a place that feels like good to you. Don't let other people make your decision for you, and just look around a lot and be able to look at a bunch of different schools before you make your decision.
Super. All right, Kelsey, you're in a little bit different situation than everybody. And if you need to go on the academic track, please do so.
Yeah, so I guess back to high school, what I wish I had told myself or had known more, taken more seriously was it's okay to take a breather. It's okay to do other things outside of swimming because burnout is very, very real, for sure. I experienced that a lot junior and senior year. So I would say that it's okay to take a breather for the weekend to see friends and family. If you need to just take a step back and reevaluate things outside of swimming, like obviously it's your passion and it's what you want to pursue in college.
So,
and you have
so would you, I don't mean to interrupt, but would you call that balance, Kelsey?
Oh, 100%. I was horrible at balance in high school. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we all are. Even as adults, we're bad at that.
Yeah, I'm still learning balance every day. So it's just, you take it with experience and it always will improve. But I'd say balance is a very real thing. I wish I had taken more seriously in high school because now in college, I've experienced so much that was out there in high school, like going to football games and going out with friends for like dinner or a movie night or having a sleepover with friends. And I really just put all this aside just to train or to go to meets or to do extra things, on the weekends. And at the time, I thought it was the best decision for me because I always had envisioned since middle school, okay, I'm going to get into a great program in college. I'm going to do what I love. So I love training. I love pushing myself. Like, this is what I want to do, 100%. I've heard so much about it. I have so many role models in college swimming. I know this is meant for me. But I wish I had taken some more time just to kind of see the other side of things, not be so one-track minded. So balance is a very real thing that I wish I had focused on more in high school. Because now in college, I have made so many great experiences and met so many great people, and I've really switched my path and what I saw myself doing in college, and I would not change it for the world. If you had asked me 3 years ago when I graduated if I had seen myself here, AW now, I'd have said, no way at all. But I think for the recruiting process, it's always just trust your gut. Like always, always, always trust your gut with the program. And because wherever your gut is telling you to go, it's probably the right decision for you in the long run. Like I toured many different D2 and small D1 programs, and they all were great and had so many cool things to offer. But at the end of the day, I still had UW in the back of my mind because ever since middle school, I've loved UW. That was a great school, great university, just like a great traditions and just a great reputation. But I never thought I could swim there, so I just kind of threw it to the back of my mind, never considered it, and just kind of said, yeah, it's a great school, but I couldn't swim there. Like, it's just great to cheer for in the football games. So I toured different D1 programs. They all were great, but nothing felt like quite the right fit for what I wanted to get out of college. So at the end of the day, I just said, you know what, I'm going to apply, see if I get in. I got in and I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. UW is great. They have so much more to offer. And so I'm very happy that I came here. And actually, I didn't know that we had a club program at the time at UW. My sophomore year, I learned we had a club program. And that's the decision of my life, and I love it. So there's definitely a lot more out there. And just trust your gut, and it'll always steer you in the right direction.
So that's a great story, swimmers, an absolutely great story. Thank you, Kelsey. All right, let's go on. We talked, well, I interrupted Kelsey and I talked about balance. Bryn Kiley, one of our attendees, asked me this question via email, and I thought it was a good one to bring in there. Student-athlete life balance. Is it difficult to manage it all? How do you manage school, swimming, and a social life? So if we could talk about that a little bit, and let's switch things up, and let's start with Tyler this time first. You out there, Tyler?
Yeah. So managing like academics and swimming can be hard if you don't do it right. But if you like are good at organization, or like what I did is I got a planner to make sure I had all of my academic stuff written down so I know what I need to do. And then if you just find like the time in the day to do it, like between classes or after practice or before practice or whenever you have time, and just even if you just break it up into like different sections of the day, it's easy to do. And you'll have a lot more time than you do in high school typically. Because when I was in high school, going from a full day to afternoon and then having to go to sleep early because of morning practice, it was hard to get like all of my homework done. But now that I'm like in college and I have more time between my classes, it's a lot easier to spread out through the day and not have like a whole bunch just waiting for me after practice.
Excellent. Hey, so I'm going to call on Jacob next. And I've always, every time I talk to Jacob in my work with Swim Cloud, I'm always asking him, are you okay? How are you doing all this? He's a student. He's a varsity athlete. He runs a website and a whole bunch of social media. So Jacob, I'm really interested to hear about your answer here.
Yeah, so a lot of it's all about time management skills. I've always been really good with time management. Basically making sure that you're leaving off certain portions of the day to get each of those things in your life. I know one of the things I've found that's been really successful in helping me is when I choose my schedule for classes, what I'll do is I'll schedule a class at like 8, 9 a.m. and then one at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. That's like an hour before practice. So that way I'm having time in the middle in which most of my friends are in classes. So it forces me to kind of sit down and do my schoolwork. And at the same time, it also makes sure that like I'm not sleeping in till like noon because I have class in the morning.
Excellent. Well, you do an excellent job keeping it all together. All right, let's go. Let's finish up with the guys. Connor, how have you done?
I think a big thing, like what Jacob said, is just like how you organize your class schedule. Like with me, I'd always try and pick the earliest classes possible. That way I'd have a huge gap between when classes end and when practice would start. And then I would just use that time to do most of what I needed to do with class and schoolwork. And I think that's what really helped me.
So for the guys, it sounds like it's class scheduling time. Let's see if there's any difference from the ladies. Let's start with Maddie Taylor. She's got a big old grin.
I agree. Getting a planner is the best idea. My freshman year, I struggled so hard balancing out everything. Like the class load is going to be a lot different from what you have to high school. And so at my school, at least, we offer study tables. And so freshmen are all required to go to these from 7 to 9 o'clock at night, and they have to go twice a week. And so during that, the captains are running it, and we're in a classroom in an academic building, and people can come and just do their homework for the 2 hours. And so, like I said, the freshmen have to go twice a week, and it's like required for those freshmen to stay on our team. So that helps your first semester, that like you have to go to these 2 hours, like twice a week, 2 hours, like little session, and you just grind out homework with your team. And that was really helpful because it like made you realize, oh, I have to get my work done. This is a good time. I'll just go do it now. And so that was a big thing. But then after a while, like when you get to spring semester and like you don't have swimming anymore, you realize how much time you have. And it's kind of crazy because you can waste a lot of your time then. But you really just get into the routine of things. Like, Monday I'm going to wake up, go to practice, go to class, go to swim practice again, get dinner, do homework, hang out with friends. And so you just get used to it.
Got it. Lydia, how'd you do?
Good. I mean, like everyone says, it's time management. You only have a certain amount of time like allotted for your work when you're an athlete, so you just kind of have to get it done. Freshman year, it will be more difficult freshman year coming into it, not knowing how to time management. But for us, we had the freshmen do about, I think it was 6 hours a week that they had to have captain sign off on homework, just so they get in the habit, and it gets easier every single year. You just learn how to manage your time better. Don't procrastinate. It's hard not to, but if you have time, just get your stuff done. That'll be the best. But yeah, for us, we only could take our classes at 11 and 2. So, and then we had practice in the morning and at night. So it was only a few hours of the day that we could do homework. So that's when you do it. So don't procrastinate.
There you go. Words to live by. Let's see, Gabby and then Kelsey. If you've got anything to add.
I think it's okay. So like it involves like a lot of discipline. You have to be like hold yourself accountable, but also know that like through swimming, you've developed a lot of discipline. You listen to a coach, you have a good structure. And I think it was Maddie actually who brought it up. On our team, actually my freshman year, my best grades were in swim season. And then as soon as we got out of swim season, it was just all that free time. I just lost that structure. So having swimming built in, I think is actually really beneficial. It forces you to sit down and do your work and realize like, I have morning practice tomorrow at 6 a.m. I got to be in bed before midnight or whatever you can do. So keep that in mind. And then also like Lydia was saying, from freshman year, it is harder. So don't feel like you have to get involved in everything right away. I think that in high school, you can be involved in a lot of different clubs and swimming, and you've got academic clubs or just things outside of school. You're going to want to join those things when you get to college, but take your time. There's no rush. You can join things sophomore year after you've built that base. So don't rush into anything and just kind of get your footing and you'll be good.
Thank you.
Get a planner like they all say.
Get a planner?
Yeah.
Excellent. And last but not least, Kelsey.
Yeah, actually I rowed freshman year at UW, so I did have the full 2 days, 2 times a week, every practice, every afternoon and Saturday for my freshman year. And I think jumping on as a walk-on, so to speak, for UW rowing taught me a lot of how to time manage by kind of throwing me in the deep end of going into this varsity athlete schedule as a walk-on for rowing. And so the big thing I learned is learn the times of the day when you're most productive. Because originally I thought, I want class at 11, I want class at 2, by morning to do whatever I want. But I learned that I'm an early morning productivity person, so getting up like at 6 to get a paper grinded out or getting up earlier to study for an exam that you have that afternoon definitely helped me the most. So finding the times of day when you're most productive and kind of tailoring your schedule to the times of day when you'll get the most done, because after about 6 o'clock, I shut down anymore. So just learning the times of day that work best for you and you can focus most easily is a big thing that I learned from my experience. Super.
Okay, I just typed a note to all the attendees and panelists. If you have any questions, please go ahead and type them in. This is kind of the end of my remarks or the prepared questions that I had. So again, if there's any questions from the people on this call, please type them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. But I'd like to follow up on something I think that Gabby said, discipline. And I think Gabby said that we learn discipline as swimmers. You're using that discipline in the school or in the school setting. How hard was the adjustment or to go from, high school where you got mom and dad and expected to be here. I think Tyler said, I'm at school from this point, from morning to afternoon, practice, homework, bed. That's very routine for a lot of the club swimmers and high school swimmers on here. What are some things that you had to do, or what did you have to learn on your own without being told outside of this? And I'm not going to call anybody. Were there any?
My roommate and I were just talking about this today, actually. It's really silly, but we had to learn like how to do laundry. And I know it seems silly, but okay, you've really maybe like had your parents help.
Great
you,
answer. Great
all
answer.
of a sudden, you have to clean everything in your room so you don't smell every week, and you want to have clean towels and clean just things to wear. And so that was an adjustment. I never went without clothes, but just the little things you don't think of, they're there. I don't know. We got used to it. We're pros now.
That's hilarious, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. Anybody else have that laundry aha moment? How about cooking? Maddie's got her hand raised.
I can't cook at all. And so I always went to the dining hall, and the best advice, make sure you're not eating junk 24/7. They have options, and you can get ice cream every day, any time of the day. You really need to make sure, at least as an athlete, like obviously get your calories in, but try not to eat crazy.
Great advice, Maddie, because what's the saying?
Freshman 15.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
yes.
We want to avoid that as swimmers, don't we?
Yes.
And coaches. Anybody else advice on that? Otherwise, we've got a couple questions from the field. We good? All right. Ella Bowling would like to know, what are some good ways to get college coaches' attention when you're emailing them?
Oh, that's one thing. I don't know if this is for emailing, but if you want to find a school with swimming, I went on a recruiting website, and that was really helpful for me. You can go through a ton of schools, and you like have your own profile on it, and coaches can view you and email you. I don't know what the name of it was. Was it maybe it's like NAI?
They will call it Swim Cloud, Lydia, because that's where I work. I don't think it was Swim Cloud, but that's okay. We didn't.
Yeah, but if you can find like a recruiting website where you can make a profile, that is how I found pretty much all of my schools that I visited, and it was very helpful.
Excellent. Anybody else? Connor? Looked like you were going to say something. I will say, so Vince, oh no, not Vince. I got to scroll back up. I think it was Ella that asked that. I will say this. College coaches want to hear from you, the swimmer. They do not want to hear from your parents. They may want to hear from your college or from your club or high school coach, but they want to hear from you. You can use all sorts of services out there, like Lydia mentioned. Maybe Jacob and I will hook up later, and we'll do a recruiting specific one on Swim Cloud, but this is not about Swim Cloud. You can go to the school's website. You can fill out questionnaires. You can just email them and say, hello, coach, my name is, I swim for, and I'm interested in your school because of whatever. Kids, they want to hear from you. All right, let's go on to Vince has a question. Swimmers, does your college swim coach know your grades? Are you held accountable? Vince, I hope you're doing okay in high school. This sounds like all right. Do your coaches know your grades?
Yes.
Yes.
They do. And for us, if you went below a certain GPA, then you had to, or I think you couldn't participate in meets, and then you had to get like tutoring to get your grades up. It usually doesn't get to that point a lot, but yes, your coaches know your grades and they hold you accountable for them.
I'll also add to that. So if you go below a certain GPA, like I said before, we had study tables for the freshmen. Those also go to anyone else on the team. If they go below that GPA, they also are required to go twice a week. to that studying time where they do their homework. And also our coaches were very helpful because they're also professors at our school. So our coach just sent out an email saying if our grades look bad right now for the semester and you need an online summer class, that he was offering a course that can help your GPA. So they find ways to try and like say, hey, take our coaching class or take this, that'll help your GPA. So they are looking out for you because they want to see you get good grades.
I would say that too. The coaches do not want to have anybody on their team like fail. They don't want kids to be recruited onto a team and then go off. They want to build a family. They want to build a team that's gonna last, and that's gonna take success in the pool and in the classroom as well. So let me go on here. There was a question. I'm just going to ask it. When looking at schools, how important is it to find out about dietary options? I'm not sure if that means the Madison Dorn asked that. I'm not sure if it means just in general, like, okay, do your coaches specify like what sort of diets you can and cannot have? No.
I
Our
mean,
coach?
sorry, go ahead, Gabby.
No, you can go. It's totally fine.
Or was it Maddie? No.
It wasn't you.
I mean, we never had like, there was always an option. So there was a coach that knew a lot about like diets and like how to eat healthy and stuff. So like if you wanted to get even more serious and go talk to him, like that option was available. And towards taper, my coach would always talk about eating healthy and everything, but yeah, there was no required diet or anything for our swim team.
Got it. Anybody else? That brings up kind of an ancillary question. You talked about the coach having other access to other aspects of the school. What about trainers, career? A lot of you guys just graduated. Career guidance counselors. Can you guys talk about some of the things that your school or your program has? What about, this was huge for me, access to alumni to make connections and network. Anybody have, like, talk about the connections through the team and through the school, if you would.
Okay, I can try. So for this school, so we train in the mornings with athletic trainers. It's not actually our coach, but then our coach runs like all of the swim workouts. And then we have access to like physical therapists on campus and like an athletic trainer during swimming that we can go see and like get wrapped and get anything checked out that's feeling not good. And then as far as like career coaches, yeah, we have like a whole specific office that you can go to if you need like your resume looked at or interview practice, if you need help finding an internship. And as far as alumni, it's not too good through our program as far as like connecting with alumni. We don't actually have anything set up, but I think with the new pool being built, our coach is trying to reach out to a lot of alumni so that they can come swim in the old pool for the last time this year. So I'm hoping he's gonna like make a list or do something to organize that so we can actually contact them and reach out. But it's easy to get a hold of Augie alumni. Swimming alumni, if I haven't met them, it's really hard to get a hold of them. So.
Yeah. Tyler, what does Monmouth do? Anything like outside of the pool?
Not like a lot, like when it comes to alumni. It's kind of just basic.
Yeah. Jacob, what about Carthage? You do stuff differently?
So alumni-wise, not really. Networking-wise, we have something called the Aspire program, which basically is kind of like a college career center, but you start at your freshman year. And so throughout college, it's having you contact certain kinds of people, building a resume, doing all these things to get ready so that you're not scrambling your last 6 months of your senior year.
Cool. Very, very cool. All right. Another question that came in from Molly Ryan. Talk about team travel. What's that like? There's a lot of us in the high school realm don't necessarily travel too much for dual meets. Club meets, it's sporadic. What about you guys on the college team?
Well, for my team, we have a few meets where we will travel like 4 hours to go to swim against teams. I know for our mid-season taper meet, we go to Wheaton, so that's like a 4-hour drive for us. And we actually get to swim against Augustana there, so that's very exciting. But our team is very big, and so you can only fit like 70 some people on a bus. And so since we have more than that on our team, we'll rent vans, or my coach will ask some swimmers to drive if they are willing to, or if their parents are coming, like drive with their parents, because he wants to make sure that everyone can go to away meets and not just make it like a selective traveling team. So he always tries to make a way for all of us to go to meets.
Super. Lydia, you did quite a bit of traveling.
Yeah, we traveled so much. So every single one of our meets was pretty far away. So it was either like a 6 or 8 hour drive. And yeah, we swam outside all over. And yeah, you go on a bus, and we always had the same driver, Wally, and you wear your team gear, you match. Yeah, our team was able to all fit on one bus, so that was really nice.
Men's and women's team
driving a lot.
Did the men's team and the women's team travel together?
Yeah. Except for one meet out of the year, it was only a girls' meet. But for all the other meets, we all traveled together. And bus rides are fun. You get to just have fun with your team.
Kelsey, can you give us the PG-rated travel stories?
Yeah, there's a few, I think. Yeah, so mainly for the club side of things, so we are university funded through the Rec Sports and Intramural Sports Association for UW. So we get a budget for renting out vans. So typically you have, authorized drivers who can drive up to 7 other customers in the van. And you pay like maybe a $10, $20 meet fee, pay for the gas and reimbursement for vans and other meet fees. And then so you travel anywhere from Marquette, which is like an hour drive, to Minnesota and Iowa State, which are more like a 4 to 6 hour drive. And then every year for nationals. So my sophomore year, we went to Ohio State, and that was an 8-hour bus ride. And then this year, we're supposed to go to Greensboro, North Carolina. And that would have been, I think it was a 20-hour bus ride. That would have been a bus ride. But then my freshman year, I didn't go to nationals. I didn't on the team yet. We went to Georgia Tech, and they flew to Georgia Tech. So in club, you get so many connections to different areas, but the traveling is one of the best memories I have for going to meets.
Super. All right. So lots and lots of opportunities for travel, basically, so mostly by bus and all over. All right. This is a great question, Madison Dorn. What are some questions that coaches typically ask during the recruiting calls? And what are some questions that you think swimmers should ask the coaches? Anybody? Nobody?
Let me think. I remember being so nervous to talk to coaches when I was being recruited. Don't be nervous. Ask questions. Ask everything you want. Ask where you'll fit on the team. And also bring up scholarship if you want. Don't be afraid to ask that. What the team is like, what events you'll be swimming, all of that. And ask about travel, ask about dry land. Just kind of get a feel of what the team is.
Yeah, I guess I'll hop in here on this one again, just because of my role in sort of the recruiting and whatnot. I'll circle back to our first question. Jacob touched on it. I think Lydia and Gabby both did. What's your equation? What things are you looking for in your next home for the next 4 years, for the coach, for the team, for the travel? And just ask questions of every coach that you get a chance to talk to about what's your team travel policy? What do swimmers live together? Do men's and women's teams? Just figure out what those things are. And for some of you, I know that it's really hard. You're young. You don't know we don't know what's going on this fall with school. So it's hard to be thinking, 4 years ahead. But just start putting some things in your head and figuring out what's important to you, and ask those questions as you go along. Okay, a question here is, how are your practices broken up? How do you pick the lanes? How do you get assigned a lane?
I know on my team, so we have at practice, we'll do a warm up together and then a transition set together, and then we'll break up into distance groups, mid distance groups, and sprint groups. And at the beginning of the year, our coaches will have like a meeting with individual swimmers, and they'll talk about, what do you want to swim this year? What do you want to train? And so my coach very much made it clear to us, at least for me, I was a mid-distance swimmer, but I swim like the 4 IM. So he's like, if you ever want to go and do a distance set one day because you want to go stretch it out, go do it. You very much have freedom to do, kind of pick where you want, but you also need to make sure like you're getting in your yards. So like if you ever want to go twitchy, you could go do sprint, but you also need to stay where you swim because you're going to swim the same events.
Jacob, what do you guys do at Carthage?
So with Carthage, lane-wise, you can choose your lanes. So if you want to push yourself, you're welcome to do what you want. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do stroke practices. So our groups are broken up between breast IM, distance, fly and sprint free, and then a backstroke group. So you can pretty much go choose whichever group you want to work on for that week. Obviously, the coaches will kind of make sure that you're going in a group that you kind of belong in. But like if you swim multiple events and you want to switch it up every couple of weeks, you can do that.
Connor, how about you at Augie?
We didn't really have a set schedule, but we would generally like switch between having a day where it's sprint, distance, and stroke. And some days we would all just do the same thing. Some days we would do the same thing but have lanes do different intervals. So it can just vary.
Cool. All right. Another question, goal setting. Do coaches help you or sit down with you on goals, setting goals?
I'll jump in again. So when we go to our mid-season taper meet, we get to pick our events. And so we will have meetings and you'll put like a goal time you want to get at the meet. And like you'll write the splits you want to get. And then you can go and talk to the coaches and say, how do you think I can do this? Where should I be training for this? Like, are my goals reasonable? And so your coaches will really help guide you with that. So we have a lot of meetings, and like you can always just jump in and like into our coach's office and just talk to him if you need to.
Excellent. Tyler, I know you were big on goals this year. We worked on a bunch of them this summer. Do you specifically work on some of those with your coach?
Yeah. So we always have like goal setting at the beginning of the year, and then like before certain meets, like before our mid-season meet, we'll have goals, and before our conference meet, we'll set up goals, and we'll have individual meetings like with the coach by ourselves. Then we'll also have meetings like with our group. So like we had a meeting where we had only our distance people go in and have like a group meeting with the coach.
Excellent. Any other panelists want to add to that? Jacob, Lydia, Gabby?
We had a couple.
Go ahead, Lydia.
We had a couple. My coach tries to get to everyone, but he's a busy guy. Sometimes he forgets. So a lot of the time it was kind of sort of up to you if you really wanted to have an in-depth like goal discussion. Like obviously he would be willing to, but you kind of had to step forward and ask him.
Yeah, going off of Lydia, we don't have an assistant coach. So at the beginning of the season, we did like our goal meetings with captains. And then at the end of the season, our coach met with everyone to talk about conference events and their goals there. But it's hard to manage, 40 swimmers and try and get to everyone. So you're more than welcome to go in on your own and talk about your goals, because I do that all the time. So you can do whatever you want, really, if you want to talk about goals or not.
This is kind of a cool question. We'll just go quick. We're coming up in an hour. We'll get through this question. If you have others, hit me up quick. But this has been great. Team tradition. Does your team have a tradition? And how has your college team differed from club or high school? So let's just go right. My screen is Jacob. Do you guys have a team tradition?
So, team tradition-wise, besides our team cheer, what we'll do is for our mid-season meet and our conference meet, the men's and women's teams will make posters for each other, kind of get each other excited before the big meets. So we do that, and it's a little different from high school because those big meets feel a lot bigger in college. Because the college season is twice the length of high school swimming in Illinois. So when you get to those big meets, it feels so much bigger. So they really try and kind of hype it up and get everyone excited for it.
Excellent. Lydia, what did SCAD do? What was your school's mascot again? The bees or something, right?
A bee. Yeah. We have our cheers, and then every year we have an inter squad meet, which is fun. It's just against your own team. And then we have an alum meet, which is fun. And we're like the older alums race the current team. And then we have a little weird one that we do. After nationals, we like chant our cheer and then break a coconut on the ground. We don't know why we do that, but it's very fun.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot.
It's something.
Yeah.
Gabby, what does Augie do?
Feel free to jump in, Connor, if you come up with any more. But we do like a team scavenger hunt at the beginning of the year for like bonding. And then we also have an alumni meet. That is if any of them want to actually swim when they come back. They're always a little reluctant. We do after our winter training, we take like a picture, and it's just really goofy, and it's just like us exhausted from the week. Can you think of any others, Connor?
Nothing really.
Yeah, I think that's about it. And then we have our cheers too that we do.
Maddie, you're always fun. What do you have?
So our team at the beginning of the year, we run around campus in our swimsuits, and we call it the Speedo run. So we take a picture, and then we go underneath the pool, and then there's this tunnel that like leads us right to the hallway in front of the pool. I don't know how it works, but you go up the tunnel. The whole team like lines up as they walk out of the tunnel, and then we run around campus like a mile or two. And then we also have an alumni meet every 2 years, and then we also have a Christmas party that we have. So you like usually go with a date with someone on the swim team. And so that's a lot of fun for us. And then we also, we don't really have we have a cheer, but it's kind of lame, but we, in our pool, we have a little basement area that we go down these stairs, and our coach will have a team meeting with all of us, and we keep it very like separate. So we don't really do our team cheer or anything in front of other people. Like if we're at Wheaton, we'll go out into the hallway into another gym and have our meeting, and we lock our arms around each other in a big circle. So we do that every meet.
Super. Tyler, I think you're last.
So like an activity we do for tradition at the beginning of the year is we always go out to like our coach's house and have like a cookout, and the seniors make dinner. And then at conference, we always take a jug of water from our pool and we pour it in to the pool that we go to before like
Cool.
the competition starts.
That's cool. Kelsey, tradition, UW-Madison. Come on. Got to keep it clean, though.
The hardest. I'd say our biggest thing, oh gosh. Well, we always have an invite every year. We invite a bunch of different Big Ten teams, and so it's a big tier contest. Oh, I guess a newer thing is the last 3 years in nationals, we've won the most spirited team at our nationals meet. So out of all the club teams in the U.S., UW's won like the loudest, the most spirited, just like the loudest cheers on the entire pool deck at nationals. So I'm pretty proud of that, just being really loud and really kind of obnoxious about our cheering, I guess the way to put it, but we take pride in that apparently. And yeah, just our team socials are always themed. So it's always a lot of fun to like see each other and go into the themes, and I think that's really about it.
Kelsey, have you had or really any of the panelists, these two girls that are asking this question kind of drive me nuts on our team anyways, but they want to know if it's easy to make friends.
So easy.
Yeah. Oh, so
Isn't it
easy.
like when you go on campus, you automatically have 30, 40, 50, 60 friends because you're a swimmer? That's how it was for me. Imagine.
We actually, on our team, the first day the freshmen all move in, we actually also have a freshman barbecue. So we get the team that's already moved onto campus that might live in off-campus houses, and we take them to one of our swim houses, and we have a barbecue, and we have all the freshmen just meet people on the team and just get acquainted with everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah, same here. We have a freshman party every year, and the freshmen get to like interact with everyone.
Yeah. See, the team is not going to let anybody slip through the cracks, are they?
And try to room with swimmers too. Or at least I like to room with swimmers. You're on the same schedule. Yeah.
It's been fun. Yeah. Lots of swimming talk.
All right. Well, hey guys, I kind of want to wrap it up. We're about an hour 10 here. First of all, to the attendees, this was kind of a new experiment, and if you could give us some feedback, Jacob and I, that would be really good. I kind of enjoyed putting something like this on, and I'm pretty certain that Jacob did as well. But so attendees, thanks for coming. Panelists, great discussion, and I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your evening and joining your fellow swimmers, and some of whom you don't know. Many of you do know some of the kids that were on the chat, but it's been great. Reach out, stay in touch, and we'll talk to everyone later. Jacob, I'll be in touch. Let's try to set something else up again. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening and good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.